If you're taken hostage while inside San Quentin, the state won't negotiate. Welcome to the San Quentin Rehabilitation Center, officially. But to those who know it, this is San Quentin State Prison. And it doesn't just hold prisoners, it holds secrets, screams, and scars. Tucked along the shores of San Francisco Bay, it's California's oldest prison and one of the most notorious correctional facilities in the United States. Inside these walls, men like Charles Manson, Richard Ramirez, and Sirhan Sirhan all serve time. But survival here isn't about history, it's about today. It's about walking through that steel gate and knowing the rules before the rules know you. Originally opened in 1854, San Quentin was constructed to alleviate overcrowding from prison ships anchored in the San Francisco Bay. Its early years were defined by brutal and theatrical punishment. Public hangings became a grotesque form of entertainment, drawing crowds from nearby towns. A 1901 report in the San Francisco Call described spectators bringing lunches and children to watch executions. A morbid tradition that blurred punishment with spectacle. Inside the prison, sanctioned torture methods were common. One of the most feared was the shower bath, which involved strapping inmates down and blasting them with freezing high-pressure water until they screamed or passed out. Guards believed it was an effective disciplinary tool. In truth, it left both physical and psychological scars. Between 1893 and 1942, San Quentin executed 215 men by hanging, more than any other facility in the state. The executions were carried out in a chamber nicknamed the Arena, and those tasked with performing them often didn't emerge unscathed. Executioner Amos Lunt, who oversaw 24 hangings, later suffered mental breakdowns and was committed to an asylum. He once claimed he heard the voices of the men he'd executed whispering at night. In 1937, California introduced the gas chamber as a so-called more humane method of capital punishment. Its first test? A pig. The animal writhed for 34 long minutes before dying, raising immediate questions about how painless the process truly was. According to criminal justice historian Kathleen Cairns, early executions by gas often caused convulsions, prolonged suffering, and terrified reactions from witnesses. In this place, even executioners cracked. Amos Lunt, responsible for 24 hangings, warned his successor of hallucinations and nightmares. He was later committed to an asylum. One inmate, Alfred Wells, helped construct the gas chamber while on parole. Then, after committing 3 brutal murders, he was brought back and executed in the very chamber he helped build. Fate, irony, or karma. You decide. Fast forward to your first day inside. The routine is clinical: mugshots, fingerprints, shackles. Your blue denim uniform is issued. You're led through echoing halls, metal doors slamming shut behind you. Your cell is barely big enough to stretch your arms, and yet that tiny box is the safest place you'll get, if you play by the rules. The yard at San Quentin isn't just open space, it's a social chessboard built on decades of prison politics. These invisible lines aren't marked by fences, but by race, gangs, and reputation. The major players, the Aryan Brotherhood, Black Guerrilla Family, Mexican Mafia, and Nuestra Familia, operate more like shadow governments than street gangs. Each group controls a share of the yard, and their unspoken rules dictate where you can walk, sit, or even glance. Neutrality? It's not respected. It's punished. According to investigative reporting by the Marshall Project in 2021, inmates who attempt to stay unaffiliated are often forced to choose a side, especially during high-tension periods. New arrivals are quietly assessed. Even the simple act of sitting alone can be interpreted as disrespect or defiance. Mealtimes are governed by unwritten laws. Sit in the wrong section, take a spot that belongs to another group, and you might not get another chance to make that mistake. Former inmates like Curtis Carroll have said that The code of conduct is stronger than the locks on the doors, and that respect is currency. The wrong move, even unintentionally, can cost you everything. Correctional officers, too, are aware of these dynamics. Some housing and work assignments are made with gang tensions in mind, not just institutional policy. Officers sometimes walk a fine line, trying to maintain order without sparking violence from sudden changes to the inmate hierarchy. San Quentin's yard may look like a place for fresh air and exercise, but in reality, it's one of the most dangerous places in the facility. Survival depends on learning the code fast, following it strictly, and never giving anyone a reason to see you as weak, disrespectful, or unaware. Workouts aren't hobbies, they're survival rituals. If you look weak, you're prey. Hundreds of burpees, push-ups, and pull-ups keep you fit and dangerous. Some turn to yoga and meditation just to stay sane. Others just try to disappear into routine, laundry work, kitchen duty, coding classes if they're lucky. Because here, being busy means being safe. Then came 2020. COVID-19 swept through San Quentin like wildfire. Over 1,000 inmates infected. The cells became coffins. Inmates described it as a horror movie where you can't leave the set. Lawsuits followed. Sanitation was non-existent. Staff got sick. So did their families. The virus didn't respect death row or good behavior. But in 2019, a different kind of shift began. Governor Gavin Newsom halted executions in California. For the first time, inmates on death row were being reassigned to general population. With that came new programs, coding boot camps, college courses, emotional therapy. One program, The Last Mile, taught inmates to build apps. Some have gone on to land tech jobs after release. San Quentin is still a prison, still dangerous. But change is crawling through its corridors. Slowly, painfully. One man, one course, one second chance at a time. In recent years, the transformation has gone beyond individual programs. In 2023, California announced a $239 million plan to redesign San Quentin into a Scandinavian-inspired rehabilitation center. The remodel, scheduled for completion by January 2026, includes educational centers, a library, open communal spaces, and even a cafe, all aimed at preparing inmates for life after release. This new vision marks a dramatic shift from isolation and punishment toward reintegration and restoration. At the center of this change is a renewed focus on vocational and technological education. Programs like The Last Mile now teach inmates not just how to code, but how to operate as full-fledged software developers, many building applications within prison walls. Some graduates of the program have successfully transitioned into careers at tech firms, proving that opportunity, not isolation, creates reform. Additionally, the California Department of Corrections launched a condemned inmate transfer program, slowly moving former death row inmates into general population housing. This allows broader access to educational tools, mental health counseling, and job training that had previously been restricted. The shift hasn't come without criticism. Some argue that the investment should go toward public safety or victim support. Others believe true reform can only begin when the roots of mass incarceration, poverty, inequality, and systemic racism are addressed. Still, for inmates living inside these walls, the impact is real. One man who entered the system on a life sentence now mentors younger inmates through emotional intelligence workshops. Another who once faced death row is now earning a college degree. The narrative is changing from one of fear and punishment to one of hope and opportunity. San Quentin's new chapter isn't just a facelift, it's a philosophy shift, built on the idea that even in a fortress of despair, rehabilitation can take root. If you ever find yourself there, remember this: escaping the place is nearly impossible, but escaping the mindset, learning, surviving, even thriving. That's the real victory. And if you want to know why people like El Chapo needed even more extreme security than this, stick around. We'll take you there next.